three children.
Mhm.
They have two sons and one daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, so they lose five children, some of them like weeks after, their birth, some, as much as almost 2 years. One of the first ones was, I think it's John Benjamin, and he dies when his mother contracts smallpox. So they both get smallpox and the child doesn't survive. So Charles has poetry about that loss of a child. I've done some work on looking at his poetry before and after that loss. So if I could simplify his poetry before the loss, his advice to women who had lost children was basically suck it up. The child's in heaven, they're in a better place. You just need to get over it and get back to loving God. And I don't know why you're grieving so much. It's kind of the subtext. It seems to be like the Methodist theology of suffering is, yes, we're going to suffer, just get over it. After he loses a child, there's no easy answers anymore. His poetry of suffering becomes much more, I don't think I'm ever going to get over this loss. I think I'm going to live the rest of my life with dealing with the loss of a child. And every year when that anniversary would come up, he would be reflecting on the loss of his child. And so the poetry is changed when he experiences the loss. And it becomes less certain about the answers when he suffers with those who have lost children.
So how does that reflect in his music?
So the poetry that he writes, I mean, I say that there's a whole genre of Charles's music, of his hymnody, that is exploring the faith. So you can think of, there's times when he's proclaiming what he knows. There's times he's writing hymnody, which is helping us to worship God. So it's got a place specifically, like the hymns on the Lord's Supper, the Trinity hymns, where these are doxologies. These are praises to God. There's other places he's telling about his own personal experience. And then there's a whole set of poetry that says, what is God doing here? Like, what does this mean for my faith? And then when he does this kind of poetry, it's with humility and it's with exploration. So when there's earthquakes, when an earthquake destroys Lisbon, he's like, well, God's got to be in the earthquake, but I don't understand it. Like, people repent and they become Christians, but then they just fall away. That doesn't seem right. And there's Christians that, this happens on, I think it's Palm Sunday or Easter Sunday, and all the people in the church, the churches collapse in them and die. So why is God using an earthquake to kill all these people? So like, he wrestles with these things and says, what is God about? How is this? And if there's one answer that he gives, it's these all are a part of God's mercy to call us back, to draw us. But even that is with a more humble tone. So his whole posture, his whole idea of what it means to be restored in the image of God is just a sense of humility. And that humility means that I may not have the answers to everything. There's just a simple trust in the midst of the suffering that I have. So loss of children, earthquakes, people invading England. So he has all kinds of hymns that are exploring those days, praying to God for deliverance too. So